Hello and welcome. If you're a nonprofit fundraising in New York, then you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to break down the state's charitable fundraising registration, and trust me, it has some unique rules you'll want to know about. This explainer is brought to you by our friends at Ironwood Registrations. It's part of our multi-state fundraising compliance series, where we try to make these really complex topics simple and practical for nonprofit leaders just like you.
Okay, let's just dive right in. The bottom line is this. If your nonprofit is planning to ask for any donations from anyone in New York, you generally have to register with the state before you even start. New York's system is one of the most detailed in the entire country, so getting this right from the very beginning is absolutely crucial.
So here's what we're going to cover over the next few minutes. We'll look at the basic registration requirement, walk through the actual compliance process, get into the nitty-gritty of financial rules and fees, talk about who might be exempt, and wrap up with the key takeaways for your team.
First up, let's tackle that fundamental question. Who exactly needs to register with the New York Attorney General's Charities Bureau, and why is it so important?
Well, the rule here is written to be incredibly broad. If you're asking for money from almost any New York source, we're talking individuals, foundations, corporations, you probably need to register. And this isn't just about old school stuff like mail or phone calls. It 100% includes modern fundraising. Your online donate button, email campaigns, social media posts that reach New Yorkers. Heck, even holding a single fundraising event in the state can trigger this requirement.
Okay, so let's say you've figured out you need to register. What's next? Let's get into the core process. What are the actual steps to get set up? And just as important, how do you stay compliant year after year?
Think of the compliance lifecycle in New York as a two-step dance. First, there's a one-time initial registration to get you on their radar. After that, it's all about mandatory financial reporting every single year to stay in good standing.
Getting started is actually pretty simple. The initial registration is all online. You'll need to have your key documents ready, like your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, and a list of your directors. The fee for this first step is just $25. Now, here is a really key difference in New York that is a huge sigh of relief for administrators. Unlike a lot of other states that make you renew every year, New York registration is continuous. As long as you keep up with those annual financial reports, your registration just stays active. No renewal needed.
Okay, let's talk deadlines for that annual report, which is called Form CHR500. Your first deadline is 4.5 months after your fiscal year ends. But, and this is great, New York gives you an automatic 6-month extension. You don't even have to ask for it. That pushes your final deadline to 10.5 months after your fiscal year closes.
All right, let's get into the money, the financial details. This is often where things can get a little tricky. We're going to cover audit requirements and New York's really unique dual filing system.
So the first big number you need to burn into your memory is $1 million. If your organization's gross revenue is over $1 million, you are required to submit a full independent audit of your financials with your annual report. No way around it.
Now, what if you're in that next tier down? If your revenue is between $250,000 and $1 million, the rule is a little different. You don't need that full audit, but you do have to provide financial statements that have been independently reviewed by a CPA.
And now for a really crucial point on fees, New York's dual system. Most nonprofits register under what's called Article 7A. That's for soliciting funds, and it comes with that simple $25 annual fee. But if your organization holds assets in New York for charitable purposes, you might also fall under the EPTL, that stands for the Estates, Powers, and Trust Law. This has a totally separate tiered fee based on your net worth that can climb all the way to $1,500. And yes, it's definitely possible you could be required to file and pay fees under both.
So, with all these rules, you might be wondering, does everybody have to register? Well, no. Let's take a look at the key exemptions that might apply to your nonprofit. The most common exemption is based on money. If your organization brings in less than $25,000 in contributions each year, you might be exempt from registering. But there are some really important catches here.
And these details are so critical. First, that $25,000 number, it only counts contributions from New York sources. Your total nationwide revenue doesn't matter for this specific calculation. Second, and this is a big one that trips people up, government grants from New York agencies do count toward that total. And finally, if you hire a professional fundraiser to help you, this exemption goes right out the window, no matter how much you raise.
Besides that financial threshold, there are a few other types of exempt organizations. This usually includes most religious groups, certain accredited schools and colleges, and membership organizations that are only asking for money from their own members. Just remember, claiming an exemption isn't automatic. It's a formal process, and you should really confirm your status with the state.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground. So in our final section, let's pull it all together and focus on the most important actions for keeping your organization in good standing in New York.
So here's your compliance checklist. The big ones are, number 1, always register before you ask for money. 2, never miss that CHAR500 filing deadline. 3, keep a close eye on your New York revenue to see if you hit those thresholds for a review or an audit. And last, make sure you periodically check if your exemption status still fits, and really understand how that dual filing system could impact your fees.
And here's one last practical tip we get asked about all the time, especially from out-of-state nonprofits. For the purpose of this charitable registration, New York does not require you to have a registered agent located in the state. So that's one less thing to worry about.
You know, New York's rules are definitely unique, but they're just one piece of a much bigger compliance puzzle. So as you plan out your fundraising, the final question you should probably be asking is this: is our national strategy truly ready for the complexities of multi-state compliance?